Who's
I think we can get Tony Gowell.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk. All right. I picked out some music
Okay.
to try out live, Tyra, to see how you like it. So I'd like to hear it go.
Oh, let's do it. I hear nothing.
What do you mean you don't hear anything?
I don't hear anything.
Oh, crapola.
Do you all out there hear anything? Because I don't.
Okay, let me check the say. I'm glad that we tested it live.
'Cause that's our favorite thing to do. We like.
Oh man, you didn't tell me I sound like crap because I'm on the wrong thing here.
Well, I can't.
How about that? I should sound way better now.
You do. I like that better.
All right, now you're.
Because and she didn't hear anything either. So there.
Well, no, because it was reading on my webcam for some reason instead of this. Maybe Zoe messed us up. I'll do it later. Doesn't matter. Fixed it. Here we go.
It's a child that messed it up, right? Okay, good. We're on Facebook and Twitch, so good times. So
we're awesome together. So you still can't hear the music.
I know. I heard the music. I don't know if anybody else did. Did anybody else hear the music?
Well, if you hear it, they hear it. Oh my God, you made me stop this beautiful beat, and I got the We're Awesome Together. Hey, everybody, this is Tyra and Charles, and we're awesome together, just like when you're with us. But Tyra can't do a professional opening to save her freaking life. I believed you couldn't hear the music because you're like, oh.
So. I'm not speaking to Charles, which will make this episode very entertaining. So, Cause, how are you doing? Make sure to post in the chat because that's who I'm going to be talking to.
So, Tyra, we're going to be talking about how we're awesome together. So, I tweaked the name a little bit because it flipped.
Together.
It flipped. It said, be awesome. Well, it's hard to say it like if you're saying the title or something. Be awesome together. I don't. So, I just said we're awesome together because we are. When we're all together, we're awesome together. And anyway, we can work out the bugs. We can work out the bugs. It's fine. I think it's not the perfect music, but it reminded me of Tyra and the energy that we put together.
Aww.
It's all poppy and happy and ruined. But that's okay. But that's not what we're called to talk about, Tyra.
No. And Kaz, hi. I'm glad you have such a wonderful husband. I'm just telling you. Kaz's husband is making her dinner.
Yeah, Tyra rushed home from her heavy, and I mean this, her heavy duty job to make dinner for her husband to then rush up here and do this with us. So, you know,
I had to go pick up something at Home Depot for him.
You could just go with that. That's how it went. That's canon now. Sorry.
I don't like to lie. I feel less powerful. I have no power tonight. So y'all, Charles is in charge, and let's not remember that series. Okay, how you doing?
Eyes on me. I'm the captain now. All right. So we're talking about chasing excellence and how we go about doing that. And one of the topics I wanted to bring to the table tonight along that line is, or it's not the topic. The topic is chasing excellence, but it's to focus on how to keep pushing after your long-term goals while focusing on today. And focusing on today doesn't mean you're actually making progress to your goal, but it's okay. Right. That's a balance you have to find in life. And of course, for creators like us, Tyra and I, we'll talk in terms of show and books and creation, those kind of things. But we also are business people.
Yep.
She runs her own business. I run my own business. She works for her business. So we're going to talk about how to balance that as well, because that's why I rephrased it instead of dreams, chasing your dreams. I said long-term goals.
Yeah.
Because you do have to. Let's just jump right into it. Tyra, wouldn't you say you get out of balance in your life if you take your eyes off of long-term goals, but also if you only focus on them?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to be said for always being focused on the future. That's not good, And having an idea of where you're going and working toward that. I have a planning system that I use that tries to help me do that. But there's still day-to-day life, and you have to think about, okay, what is the immediate things that I need to pay attention to, plus being present in where you are right now.
Yes, and where you are can be
Yeah,
your job. It can be your relationship.
it
It
could be
can.
on a live stream with Charles.
If you enter the lottery now at $1,000 a ticket, you too can be on this live stream with Charles.
Did we mention we need funding for the tracks?
Hey, Clint Hall. Hey, how's it
Clint!
going?
I love Clint. Clint is just awesome.
I mean, he's awesome because we're together, but now he's going to go be apart. Who knows what will happen after that?
Well, he's always awesome.
So should it be we're awesomer together?
Oh, that sounds grammatically really bad.
It is totally grammatically horrible.
And I'm a Virgo, and I'm not too much on the the grammar train, but no.
That's right. Our birthdays are fairly close together.
When is yours?
21st of September.
Oh, so we are both Virgos. Clint, you are awesome. Clint just got nominated for an award that I can't remember what it is, but I'll find out and say something about it, like intellectually, in just a moment.
Dad/husband of the year because on a weeknight he's putting the kids to bed.
No, he released his first book, and Steal Fire from the Gods, and it is a 2024 ACFW Carroll Award finalist. I have no idea what that is, but American Christian, there it is, American Christian Fiction Writers Group. So I'm super excited for him. Clint's an all-around good guy, and he's got hopefully a panel of this Dragon Con.
I think I might have seen his name on a list somewhere.
It's on a list.
Is it on a list? It's on a list. So Jen O'Cause says here, what is it like to have goals? Honestly, fair question.
True. Not everybody does.
Right. At different ages, different times, goals change. My goal right now is to have my 19-year-old get his crap together and get out of my house. Just to be on his own. I guess I should rephrase that. To get on his own, next phase of life. When I was, let me ask you this, Tyra. When you were young and entering the college era of your life, the first time, because I think you got multiple degrees, not that you failed out.
I have a couple.
What? What were your goals in? I said you didn't fail out. Don't what me.
Okay. I thought you said I failed out.
No, not because you failed out.
No. What am I talking about?
What goals did you have entering the initial college stage of life?
I was going to be a choral music director.
Okay.
I am not a choral music director.
Mr. Holland's opus meant a lot to you.
No, their salary didn't. Okay. I have to answer my husband.
All right.
No, he's asking if I have Dobby, so please pardon me while I reply to him.
This is how we do it in my house. No. So yeah.
You're in a building not even connected to your house. How is that helpful?
You think they didn't hear me?
You do bellow.
Do you think that's air you're breathing? No. Okay. Goals. What is it like to have long-term goals?
There you go.
It's like having a purpose in life when you're purposeless. It's the thing for me that kept my head above water when I went through one of the darkest times of my life and was hitting bankruptcies. And I think I was still in the middle or just finished I say bankruptcies plural, wasn't plural, it was bankruptcy, but it was that time I was doing a show called Success Freaks even, and dealing with that mentality of I'm doing a show about trying to be successful and the successes I've had in my life and just a mentality of chasing my dreams. And here I am having to leave my house in a foreclosure and file bankruptcy and all this other stuff. And just in the darkest of days, I just never let go of, I know where I belong. I belong in front of people. I belong doing digital media because at no point in time, if anybody's ever listening to me, I'm still doing it. Right now, I do love and acknowledge that people do listen to me now, and it's really awesome. But in all reality, we see very little numbers. We actually see almost no numbers on this stream. We don't look at the numbers, is what I'm saying.
No,
And
don't look at them.
it was just on, and we're happy. I mean, there could be 1 million people listening. There could be Cause and Clint listening.
Well,
right?
and I've never had Clint drop in before, so
Yeah.
we just never know who's going to show up.
But it's for me, the goal is what I'm going to do no matter what. And that definitely, that's for one of my, I mean, it's a bigger vision of it, but that's been my goal of when I got lost on my path, choosing the wrong job, getting distracted. That's how I found my center again, is going, okay, I know I really want to do this. I've tested that time and time again. I don't know when I'm going to get to it because I still haven't been in a sold out crowd of thousands of people on the stage, but it's still coming.
Yeah.
You know, and that for me is a goal.
I think there are people, because like both of us have jobs that are not 9 to 5. And there are people who actually have 9 to 5 jobs that just kind of leave them at home. Like when they leave work, they leave work there. When they're home, and there's no crossover. And I often wonder what that would be like.
Yeah. And you and I are very similar in that vein of the work we do. Well, one, we do work that we're passionate about to some extent, nothing wrong with anything that I'm going to give it as an example, but here's a job I don't think exists anymore. I'm not the oil checker at the local filling station, right? The guy comes and pumps your gas and washes you, you can find satisfaction in that, but I would find that miserable.
Yeah.
So I do a job that is passionate, but I would dare say if somebody's passionate about that job, their car's on point at home, their windows are, whatever it is it. But most people, I think, have, at least at some point in their life. So Jen, I don't know. I'm going to say maybe not. So Jen says, or Kyle says, I've never had 9 to 5 job either. Not even in high school. You didn't get a 9 to 5 is not quite little, but you didn't get a job. Like, I got to go make some money flipping burgers. At no point if you didn't, good for you. Tyra, I'll throw that to you. Have you had a job, without a passion?
Yeah. Well, my first job was Turtles Records. So anybody from Atlanta.
Turtles Records. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a big deal to get a job there as a 16-year-old, by the way. And I got it because I knew classical music, but I loved it. And then I worked in clothing. I worked at a place called Clothesline and Upton's, and I did some of that until I started college. And then I was on scholarships, and pretty much my dad was like, your job is to graduate well.
Nice.
That's what I did.
So Tyra, I'm
that
gonna
is
say
also true.
Step number 1 of setting goals is to stop being so nitty-gritty specific. Cause retail, yes, but it's not 9 to 5. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'll take the hours. Come on, girl. We're talking about passion versus earning money.
I understand what you're saying, though, because there is a kind of culture around the people who work 9 to 5 or 8:30 to 5:30 or whatever it is nowadays.
It's good enough for Dolly. It's good enough for me.
True. They expanded that since they took our lunch hours. But I mean, my husband works a 9 to 5, but he's very passionate about the work he does.
And I will be clear. Well, one, you're going to hear with whatever. I say, I knew what caused it. She set me up. I walked into it. But you will hear what you want to hear in anything, to be honest. No matter how it's said, no matter how it's brought. But for those of you who are Captain Literals, like I can be sometimes, I don't mean actual 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I mean what I do most of the time. Now, I happen to be in this stage of my career. I happen to be in a place I'm very passionate about, and I'm passionate about getting things right and proving my theories right and learning more stuff about my own future business of being a speaker. I even mentioned the other day something at work. We're finding center again. We've gotten a little off course, and we're reshaping and centering. And I said, this is how rock stars go broke, is if you don't know that you just did a $50 million tour that cost $50 million to do it, but you only made $40 million on the tour, you're broke. And that's, MC Hammer, right, from my generation. I don't want to lump Tyra and Tyra. Might be like, I'm not old enough. I don't know. I'm just
I know.
saying.
I'm older than you.
I wasn't gonna say that though. That's all I'm saying.
It's
But
common knowledge my age on this show.
I mean, MC Hammer,
Oh yeah,
one
he
he got
believes it.
stolen from, but he was putting on a show that was costing just insane amounts of money, and ultimately took him down financially.
Well,
And some embezzlement from family or business people. I mean, there's
it'd be
lots of things,
so
but it comes
careful.
down to paying attention, which is to me step
Well,
number 2 of setting goals. But we can get back to that.
and education. I will say
Yeah.
this, so I'm an NFL girl, just so we get that clear. Not that you all don't know
Okay,
this.
you're a Swiftie that now is NFL, right?
No, 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 no.
No?
I got the Kansas City Chiefs with my husband. I've
Okay.
always been a college football girl because I went to Georgia Tech and we had season tickets. My dad actually, I was raised on Falcons football, Steve Burkowski era, if anybody remembers him. Which is why I became a Chiefs fan because the Falcons, bless their hearts. But one of the things I learned was like they actually have seminars to help the young men coming in as rookies know how to deal with their money because it is so easy to get taken advantage of and to understand how they're being paid. Travis Kelsey jokes about the fact that he was literally dodging his landlady because he didn't have any money to pay her because he didn't understand that he didn't get paid in off season.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I don't have a reason to know that, but
Yeah,
holy
no,
crap.
all their money comes during the season, and
So you
they
better
don't get
put it away and plan for those few
better put it
months.
away, and you better
Yeah.
not be buying $1,000 bottles of alcohol at the club, which he learned. He doesn't do that. Well, he probably does that now, but I mean, so they're literally the vets on the team would pull their money and have a save fund for some of the rookies when they needed it.
Vets being veterans.
Yeah, vets
Got it.
being older football players,
Yeah. Gotcha. Yep.
not necessarily veterans of our country. They
Well,
could do that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the future and the now, and then the future, the now part of that is okay. Well, when you're trying to chase your long-term goals, are you making sure you're taking care of today appropriately, and knowing what your income is, how you get paid, what your bills are? Another crazy industry is education. Do
Oh
you
my
get
God.
do you get paid once a month, Tyra?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get paid through the down season?
Mm-mm. Not unless I teach classes.
So I'm just gonna make up the dates from like August all the way through the holidays to what, May, you're
Mhm.
getting paid.
I get
But
paid.
then June, July, basically, unless you teach classes, you're not.
June, July, I do not get paid unless I teach summer. So when anybody asks me, "Do you teach summer?" I'm like, "Yes," because I like to pay my mortgage.
How many teachers understand that going through college?
Well,
Well, future teachers, I mean.
what's interesting is they probably don't tell them. And the second thing is it's different in higher ed versus high school, elementary, middle school, and private college. So when I taught it shorter, they spread my check over 12 months instead of 10, even though I was on a 10-month contract because they wanted to earn interest on that money. I'm not stupid. The same is also true for a lot of lower grade educators. They will get paid over 12 months so that they can budget better, quote unquote.
It seems to me, not to go off on a tangent, I just want to put the statement out there.
We do that all the
whoever else
times.
is. Yeah. The real podcast we should do is called Tangent. Where? Rabbit.
We can call it the Squirrel Podcast.
But this is a thought that just hit me today. I was talking with another ambulance company operator and asked how they paid, and they paid weekly. And I thought about, because I worked for a school at a time and I got paid monthly, but
Right.
it was honestly, it was easy enough for me to adjust because I had monthly bills already planned out. And so when I got that big deposit, I knew how to go ahead and schedule my bills out and make sure we put money in savings so we didn't accidentally bleed it out and eating out and those kind of things. And we had a plan for that. Also, like this other company, they pay weekly. From a company standpoint, I can see the budgeting on both. So I know monthly I'm going to be putting out this much money, or weekly. It's very easy to catch where things are going wrong. Or one other standard is the 15th and 30th of the month.
That's when my husband gets
steady, right?
That's what my husband gets paid.
Oh, we do the hardest one.
What do you do?
We do every 2 weeks. So at least
but that's
twice a year, there's an extra payroll that I got to remember to account for.
That is
my content.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because my dad got paid.
It's awesome for the receivers.
Yes.
It's not as awesome for the managers to manage it.
It's great if you are, because you can take those 2 paychecks and use them to pay for vacation or Christmas. My mom and dad always use them to pay for Christmas.
So this is just an example of knowing your money and knowing how to get paid. And
So
if
do
you,
get financial literacy. I think that's super important for everybody.
the one I went through, no free ads, no endorsements here. I'm talking about pure experience. Is early on, probably early. Did I have a kid or not? I don't think I had a kid yet. So
You've had kids forever.
I know, right? But not really.
Hanging.
I was actually married for about 5 or 6 years before we had our first kid.
Really? I thought
Yeah.
that one came really early.
We call ourselves that was our single days. Like, we don't talk about being single when we're separated. Our single days of when we were married to when we had a kid, because you could go gambling, do whatever. We had adult money. We didn't act like it though. Like, we were not adult. We were immature with our money, is my point.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I don't remember the timing of it, but at some point we realized we're immature with our money. We're having problems. We're constantly repeating the cycle of up and down. So financial literacy, I went through the Financial Peace University by Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
And it reached me. Now, not all the churchy stuff that he does sometimes, not definitely. He's a bit of an asshat sometimes with how he says some things, but that's okay. I was there for me, not for him.
Right.
And I mean, and some of the stuff he did say really resonated with me. It broke through all my ignorance is lack of knowledge. It broke through my ignorance and attitude. And, okay. I enjoyed learning that system. Do I like that? No, I don't like that, dude. I've actually had some stuff pop up, like some controversies pop up on TikTok recently with it. But yeah, no, I'm glad. What about you, Tyra? Where did you learn financial literacy?
I don't know. I guess I just picked it up along the way. I mean, I went to B school, so that probably helped. I took a ton of economics and finance classes and accounting classes. I watched my parents budget and how they did money, and my husband and I do money very similarly. We have 3 bank accounts. We have his, mine, and ours, because sometimes he does not need to, know what I'm spending money on, though I tell him anyway. Yeah, B school is business school. Sorry, guys.
It is about freedom there, and
It
my
is.
wife and I got to that point of having the multiple accounts. We didn't
It's
start
so
there.
he doesn't have to worry about me going and getting something that was completely legit and him going and getting something the same day that's completely legit.
But they conflict and they mess with your
conflict.
budget.
And they
Yep.
mess with the timing. So I keep track of our joint account for the most part. We both deposit money into it, and then we have our own separate money that we can do whatever we want to.
Yeah.
Which I need help. If you're out
Okay.
there and you know 3D printing, particularly the indoor, Max something or another, that I will find out the name of it in just a second. But if you happen to be an expert in that, if you could contact me, I would love you beyond measure. It's an Indoor 3 Max Neo. We're having trouble printing, and my husband's trying to get his past costume done before Dragon Con. Thank you.
I didn't have that one. I had Joe and I split one for the show, and he's got it in his house right now. It's the Ender Pro 3, I think.
Maybe he might understand what we're doing.
Maybe.
Does he use
I
it a
went and
lot?
watched a lot of YouTube videos when I was
We
setting
have,
it
yeah.
up originally. Yeah.
We got it to
Yeah.
We got it to print fine on the tester prints, but when we changed the filament type to a filament that's better for armor, because you don't want your armor melting in the car in Georgia heat, it's been foobarred. Anyway, thank you. Please let me know.
So focusing on goals.
Yes, let's
while
go back to goals. It's a
managing
goal in
today.
our household. It's a
I
goal in
get
our
you.
household.
And Jen or Cos had asked, what's it like to have a goal? Again, we talked about it's the North Star, it's your center, it's your balance. For me, that's what it is. So Tyra, what is it like for you to have goals set?
For me, it helps me get to where I want to be. Like, there are things I want to do in life before I leave this plane. And for me to do that, given that I have ADHD, I have to have a plan. And I think one of the hardest things for me over the last year or so has been that I've been trying to figure out what's next. Like, what am I going to do after I'm no longer a professor? Because I know there are people who retire and they don't do anything.
We
I
are the
don't.
pirates who
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
do anything.
I don't think I don't. Not Tyra. I'm gonna have to do something, and I've got so much creatively that I want to do, but I need to set myself up for success, and so that starts, you know, 5-10 years out from me retiring, trying to put those pieces together so that I can make sure that we get to retire in the fashion that we want to, and that I'm still being able to create, and that that's a source of income for us. So for me, that's where it's been. But do you know Franklin Covey?
Name's very familiar.
So Franklin Covey had a mission statement builder. And when I was a college student, I actually used it to build a mission statement.
Okay. What
And
was it?
um, I will have to get it. It's over there.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
It's okay. No, and it's interesting. I'm gonna take my camera off for just a second. So talk amongst yourselves, Charles. I'll get it.
Okie dokie pokey. So I was inspired as a speaker, at the time aspiring big stage speaker. I was inspired by a BS conference I went to. There's all kind of cash grab business conferences that come through major cities, and you'll know them by the fact they'll have a lot of big names on them, like the people that you'd really want to hear, like Colin Powell, Zig Ziglar, those kind of things, and it's free, or you can upgrade to this or upgrade to that. And then in between the big speakers, they don't tell you that there's these stupid hardcore pitches for here's how you get rich quick on the stock market, and here's how you can make money doing this, and buy our system and do that. But I got to see Zig Ziglar probably about a year before he passed away, and I was inspired because at that point he was at the end, almost end of life, and he was not the same dynamic person that had been on stages before. However, the reason he kept doing any kind of speaking gigs, and his adult daughter would come out with him, and they would sit on a stool, and she would set him up, like he asked a question, and then he would give his response, and it's stuff that he's talked about a million times in his life. And they lead with, he's here because he wants to be here. He would rather, I mean, he didn't say it this way, but he'd rather die on stage than not be there. And that inspired me. It's like, oh yeah, when you do the things like I do, where I can just sit in a chair and talk into a camera and a microphone, or sit on stage, I can go until I'm just too tired to go anymore, and I can pick and choose what I do. And that inspired me. So you have a mission statement.
I do. This printout is probably 32 years old or 33 years old, and I still have it. My heroine's journey is about self-discovery, love, expression in its purest, rawest, and most passionate forms. I believe in the Renaissance woman, for I am her. I'm here to love, to explore, to express, and to spread joy and compassion every day. I am a goddess.
And did it ask you questions to help with that? How did it help you build that?
It had me answer questions, and then you think kind of like your value set, which is interesting that when I went back through talking to my life career coach recently, the same values were still important to me. I truly did a good job of picking what was important to me. I now say it as kindness, but I wanted to be a Renaissance woman, and I kind of am. In a humble brag moment. What?
I said, no, you bathe more than once a year.
That's not what I meant, Charles.
So
I bathe frequently.
Yes.
I love my shower.
I am sure. So guys, when I was between the ages of like 12 and 20, I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted, because that's the only way I knew. I had a vision of me being on stage. I'll tell the story. But I am a visionary. I'm a driven creator. And not everybody can have that path. And my kids don't have that path. So you just kind of set a short-term goal. So my mom always said this. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. I mean, she's very dismissive of that dream, because especially in the 90s, it's very difficult to be a rock star. And even today, it's a little more
hard.
Accessible, but it can be. Star is a big word.
It's easy. It's easier to get your music out. It's harder, I think.
I mean, you can definitely. It's a lot easier to make a living making music. It's still just as hard to be Metallica or Jelly Roll or something like that, right? Yeah. So she was like, "Well, you have to do XYZ. You have to finish high school. You have to do roll in high school. You got to go to college. You have to have a job. You have to do this." So I set short-term goals. I originally wanted to go to school to be a pilot. Fly planes. Ended up going for criminal justice, and that didn't work out either. But that got me into EMS, which every step of the way, as long as I kept my focus on where I'm going, I learned different things and honed different skills as I went. But The short-term goals were, I want to get out of my parents' house. I want to support myself financially. I want to have a wife and a family. I want, and we just kept you build the little goals.
I obviously had
Let's keep
lofty
going.
things.
Oh yeah, I had very lofty things, but you had short-term goals, right? You achieved your bachelor's.
Yeah, no, graduate.
Yeah. So sometimes they're just targets, maybe even. But that's the thing. If I ever talk to 12-year-old me, and 12-year-old me is going, I have a dream that one day I'll be on a stage in front of thousands of people, at a sold out audience. How do I do it? 46-year-old me is like, buckle up, buttercup. That's all I can tell you right now. And
It's
hold
gonna be
on
a
to that.
fun ride.
Yeah.
I think that for me, I wanted to survive and graduate, and I was going to go to graduate school. Like, as soon as I was in undergraduate, I was already looking at graduate schools.
And so you wanted to be a choral director, and you went to
Yeah.
school and you shifted gears somewhere. I'm assuming it's while you were in school.
Oh, yes.
And so then what was your target after you shifted gears?
I briefly thought of being in music business because Georgia State actually has a music business degree, but I realized that I would probably not fit in.
Why is that?
I didn't do drugs. I was pretty
Keyword is-
sober.
Yeah.
I wasn't, I was pretty straight-laced. And
Oh, I'm shocked.
I know you are. So it just wasn't a good fit. I found marketing, and marketing was the answer because I was always a math whiz, so I have a really huge analytical brain that can do a lot of stuff like that. But I'm also a lot more creative than I ever gave myself credit for when I was younger. That would be the thing that I would tell myself, if I could go back and tell young Tyra anything, it would be that being creative does not mean that you can draw or paint.
Yeah, that can definitely
It means that it's,
do that.
being able to do this is creative. Being able to write is creative. The way I think is much more creative brained, definition wise. I wish I'd known that when I was younger.
A lot of people, as I was doing in my brain for a minute, a lot of people will conflate creative with art,
Yes.
which are two different things. Because there's art
I
and
did.
an accountant who loves numbers and can really just, to me, art is akin to magic sometimes. It's like, hey, I'm good at numbers. When you talk about accounting, I'm not going to get on my rant, but accounting's all made up crap. I hate it so much. But you got somebody who really knows and get you to the true numbers and not fake anything. Not, basically here's a roadmap, and you will, as long as you stay on this map, you'll never hit a road bump. That's art, and that's magic. But that they probably wouldn't even consider themselves creative, and you can.
But you can be. Did you remember the TV show Numbers?
Yeah.
So to me, that's what I thought of when you said that.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, cause you ended up in a good place by happy accidents. For me, my current job is the first one where I can look back and say, "Oh, this is what I've been headed for my whole life." And I would dare say most everybody in this world, the majority of human beings, follow that path. If they're lucky, I guess, even because some of them just end up in a job. We've heard it. I don't get paid enough for this job. Blah, blah. They just are a machine, right? But they find their pleasure elsewhere, or they
Right.
just are.
Yeah. You
Right?
don't. I think we're lucky in that what we do is passionate, that I'm passionate about. I love teaching. I was meant to be a teacher. I teach all the time. It doesn't matter if I'm in front of classroom or not. I'm teaching. But I'm okay if somebody is just doing a job and they have their passion is filled in another way. So maybe they're working at that gas station, helping to make sure cars are good and everything is running right. But when they get home, they've got their lowrider that they take to competitions on weekends, and that's their passion. And that's perfectly fine.
Oh man, that's one of my depending on how it's done, that's one of my favorite trends on TikTok in the last couple months was the person they think they're emailing and the person they're really emailing. And that was a great story of the person that is some person in like a teacher's, dress, right? For a guy, it'd be like a suit and a tie or whatever. Who they think they're emailing, and who they're really emailing is the dude out there with the bandana on, riding the low rider and jumping the mud puddle. Yeah, love that.
True.
Love that. That is one way to balance yourself. that's not necessarily the same as setting goals and managing today. And
Right.
so one of the things I want to throw
Oh,
out
yeah.
there
Let's get back to our
is
topic.
when you're chasing your long-term goal, whatever that is, you also have to understand that today matters. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to learn something. So I was actually going to put it in a banner, but I'm not going to take the time to type it out now and put it up there. But one of the things I thought of is stop resisting. That's what I had to learn the hard way. Cause actually inspired me with her little story there, because I realized I haven't backed into. So, this is what I was born for. What I've done was I've gotten in situations I was like, why am I here? I mean, that's why Nosuke is one of my spirit animals behind me. He's the character on the wall behind me. He's loud, he's angry. He's just, let's just go do. Why are we doing this? What?
Right now.
But I had to realize, and all of it's almost retrospective until a certain point in my life when I went, well, I've retrospected a lot and realized, I'm here because I needed to learn this thing and stop resisting. Like, I hated spreadsheets. I like the Excels are for boring people with ties or whatever. And then through that bankruptcy and all, lost my income, lost all this other stuff, and met an amazing person named Marcy Rosenbaum, who is part of Goldman Sachs business coaches, small business coaches in Miami, and her husband teaches at Nova there. And she was an amazing woman, and she taught me a lot. And I ended up for a year producing a show for her and making my income off of that. And in that year, I learned how to deal with some crises. I learned how to speak professionally to people, how to resolve crises. And the biggest thing I've learned to do was to embrace lists, like actual checklists and writing things down, and spreadsheets. And once I stopped resisting, she helped break through a lot of my resistance and all
That's
that.
good.
And I mean, now where I'm at, where I'm learning more lessons about making sure I know the clear path on things, so that when I'm on the road and speaking and something pops up, I know the questions asked, I can get into a sheet and look at it, whatever. And the ship keeps going. So I always know that from city to city, my bills are getting paid no matter what.
Right.
I started that path there, and it's amazing, right? So that's it. Stop resisting. So Tyra, what is something that you resisted as a young Tyra that you just let go and you started learning? And then in retrospect, even sitting now, you go, oh, I was in that situation. One, because maybe I took my eye off of the ball, and that's how it happened to me a lot. Or two, I was meant to learn this thing that I hadn't learned yet, and now I use it somehow, some way.
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know if there's anything that I necessarily resisted a lot, but I do think the fact that I have figured out as I get older that I am neurodivergent, I am ADHD. I don't think the way everybody else does, and that's fine. I'm sure there are other people who think like I do as well, but I don't know where they are, and I wish I could find them. But that I wish I had learned earlier how to manage that. Like, I wish I had talked to people before I got.
And so you're having to learn it now.
Yeah, so I'm learning it now, and I
Good.
learned that I have my own ways of coping. I mean, coffee is, it's a gateway drug to help with ADHD. And I have to make decisions. So one of my decisions has been that I'm probably not going to take medication for the ADHD, but I'm trying to learn better skills of how to deal with it. And so I wish that as a young child that they had figured that out, because I think that my life would have been a little bit different. But I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be where I am. Um, I will say that probably it's a little bit different. I have always wanted to have a family. I always wanted to find somebody, fall in love, and have babes. And I got to be about 37, and I had to let it go because I didn't want to have children just by myself. I didn't want to be one of those strong women that go off and are single moms. I didn't want to do that. And I hadn't met anybody. And so I do remember that when I was in my late 30s, letting go of that dream of being a mom. And so, uh, and now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, sometimes I do wish we had children, but I'm also really grateful we don't, because I couldn't do what I do if I had a bunch of little ones.
Would you say it lifted a bit of a negative burden off of you? Because I have to imagine, cool, I got that. Yeah. I have to imagine that up until that point, you're like most humans, My biological clock is ticking. I got to make choices, and this pressure on. And then once you go, I'm going to make a decision. It's a decision that technically at the time is a decision you could reverse, and technically
True.
never could. I mean, you could adopt, you could whatever, but you isn't. That's the thing. Decision very rarely are decisions permanent in life. I mean, there are definitely some
There are
permanent
definitely
decisions, but most of the ones that we think are like, oh my gosh, you can change that path. But that lifted that, making that choice lifted.
Yeah.
It didn't really change your life other than lifting that stress burden.
Well, you have I grieved is what I finally did.
Okay.
I
Okay.
grieved for the life that I had dreamed of my entire life and never had. And in many ways, I think that opened up my life for what happened, which was Shane. And I love Shane. Um, I often talk about Clover, who was my cat. I adopted her like 9 months before I met Shane. And she literally opened my heart because all of a sudden she would meet me at the door and I would be like, this is really nice. I really wish I had a human that did this. Let's manifest one of those. And I did. My lovely
Manifest.
manifested my 6'4" big Yeti. Yes. So, yeah, but I had to grieve for that woman that I never was going to be.
All under chasing excellence. Would you say at the same time that you let go of that vision of your life, you started to embrace who you really are?
Hmm. I think what happened was I realized that you don't have to birth a child to be a mother. And you don't have to have children to be a mother. And that in many ways, the work that I do on a daily basis, my quote unquote 9 to 5, um, I'm very maternal in it. I'm that kind of professor. I'm the one that, your life goes to crap. You're probably going to come talk to me about it. And I realized that my impact by not having things that would have taken me off of there, I've impacted so many, many lives. And so I kind of embrace that.
It's the little things sometimes. I'll if it's appropriate, I'll come back to that because I want to stay on the vision I had in my life. I like watching TV in my head of how my life can do things or whatever. And there's I vividly remember swim lessons. I am
Me
as a
too.
kid, teenager, college, avid swimmer. I haven't swum in a while, but I dare say I'd outswim my kids. Still no problem. And so I in many areas of my life, I relate to learning to swim. You can't go to the other side until you push away from this side, right? You can't hold on. But when you were saying that for my own life, you're talking about letting go of this vision of being a mother and grieving that. I envisioned the let go and turning on and holding on to somebody. And that say, which for you would ultimately become Shane. So on and so forth. I can see that in certain points in my life, but that's just it. How many people in their life are unhappy because they chased the life they thought they were supposed to have instead of looking at the one they actually have or could realistically have that would be better?
My brother was that. He literally, his best life was in high school. My brother's passed away.
Oh, that's
Um,
sad. Yeah.
and
Both things.
his best life was in high school. He was on the football team. He was well known. He was well liked. The girls liked him. And through a variety of things that I don't want to share because they're not mine
Sure.
to share, but he lived in that past. Like his best moments in his later life was when he got together with his high school friends, or they would have their Saturday meetups, or helping with the current football team from his high school, instead of being in the moment of what he was doing and realizing that what he was doing was really cool. My brother built hotels all over the world.
That is really cool.
For Marriott, he was amazing. He built in Panama, in Barcelona, Hong Kong. He built them everywhere. And I don't know that he ever really absorbed that and enjoyed it and was in that moment. I think one of the
Did he
things
get married?
twice. Is it twice?
Oh,
Yeah,
so that was kind of makes me. I was going to ask, living in that past, having the glory days be behind him means you're not fully here. I was going to ask what kind of effect did it had on his relationships?
I don't think. No, he's not here, so he can shoot me from the heavens. But I don't think he ever had healthy relationships with women, to be honest. He just didn't. I mean, I love my brother, but he certainly had a misogynist streak, which was hilarious because his 3 sisters were all excruciatingly independent, and our father raised us to be that way, and our father treated women amazingly equal, and in his work, he
Mm.
always tried to get women in positions of power if he could. So, yeah. But I think it and again, I think that came because he wasn't confident enough in himself.
That's a good point. We're talking about chasing excellence, and yeah, I'm in a spot right now where I'm finding a balance between getting today right and continuing to chase the dream. And I had a talk with Phil Keating this week, and he gave me some good words. And because partially, I feel like my digital media career is stalled, and we're not going to talk about that right now. But I just telling you where I'm at is trouble at not trouble, but just rough waters at work. I took my eye off the prize,
Right.
let myself fool myself into getting distracted. Unfortunately, again, it's always lesser for me. It's lesser and lesser. I learned my lessons, but one day I'll learn, and I have in the past different lessons. Learn it all the way, and now it's no more trying. But on this one, getting distracted from my goals in life, I'm still a little distracted. But it's like I don't have many speaking gigs this year as many as I wanted. I'm having troubles getting into conferences when I don't think I should have troubles. It just felt like a moment, and then it all came together and it helped. But you've got to find that balance,
Yep.
right? And you've got to have priorities, and you have to be on that priority list.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that means not looking back at what you did yesterday and not looking forward to what you can do 3 years from now. It is, who am I today, and how can I be my best self today? And sometimes that means
Yeah.
sit on the couch and watch some TV and chill out, dude.
And that's fine. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing I've learned. Like I'm putting together a planning system that talks about, hey, take a moment, look at your year, look at the times of your year that when that day job that pays your bills, when is it the worst? So I try to do things in May because that's when I'm not having to teach. I get off of spring semester, summer semester hasn't started, and I make these grandiose plans. And I'm stupid because I am worn out from spring semester. I am worn out from the day job, and I need to chill on the sofa, crochet, and watch some Murder, She Wrote. So, but I'm finally recognizing that, and by recognizing it and accepting it, it's very freeing because it doesn't make me feel guilty for not having done things. And because I didn't feel guilty, I've relaunched my Geek Meets Social podcast. I've got 25 people who want to be on it from one call that I put out there, which is astounding. I've got 17 of those scheduled. I'm scheduling Charles tonight, but I couldn't have done that if I hadn't had the peace of it's okay if I don't do anything.
One of the good words that or good phrases, or when I say good words, I mean, words of affirmation, kind of, hey, I needed to hear that in the moment. Something that Phil said not that long ago, and it's still some things I can't talk about currently.
Mhm.
But when that was going through, you and him knew about it. You're in my inner circle, and of course, my wife knew about it. And because I need somebody to talk some things through and to go. Otherwise, I'll just get all up here. And I've got
Right.
a mistake I want to ask about in a minute if I get back to it. But one of the things he said was, you just keep reaching. You got to keep reaching because you never know. And that synced up with a business book. I wish I could tell you which business book I was listening to in Audible a year or two ago, but one of the statistics they gave was, or maybe it was not even a book. Maybe it was Ed Milet. It could have been the Ed Milet show. He's a motivational speaker, businessman. I
Cool.
like a lot of what he has to do and say. I think it was his show. I don't remember who his guest was, but they're talking about millionaires. And Ed Milet is definitely a millionaire. He talks to other millionaires, and that's the other thing is like, go the negativity. Oh, they got money, better. Okay, you can't hate on what they have, because if they have it and you don't, and you hate on it, you'll never get there. It's negative. That being said, he's talking about so many entrepreneurs are 3 steps from that finish line where they'll break through and they'll have the success, they'll be the millionaire, whatever it is, and they give up right there. And that resonated, but I didn't quite have the past and neuron paths connected to go, oh, this is what it means in my life, until a year or two later. It feels like you just keep reaching. You
Right.
keep reaching, you keep trying, you take every opportunity you get, you keep refining your craft, you keep moving towards that goal. You always keep trying. And then you can look back. And I love that we talked about rock and roll earlier and about how it's easier to make a living making music.
At least part
But
at least part of your
super,
living.
right. But I mean, there's songwriters,
Oh yeah.
there are so many people I know that are happy being those bar bands on the weekends and they make decent money. I mean, there's some of these cover bands that become famous in their areas and they
Right.
will sell out their shows covering other people's songs every time.
Right.
And yet, and there they are. They're musicians, they're having fun, they're getting paid. You know, sometimes they make their living at it. You know, my cousin is actually in a legit band, the Little River Band from the 70s. Yeah, he's the drummer for Little River Band now. We're not now. I mean, it's been a decade or so. I don't remember.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. I got to go see him. But we talked about it. But he also loves his day job, and he's basically an IT guy in the health system, and wherever he is.
Cool.
I don't remember. I don't want out. I don't know where. You know, he's got to be safe. But his weekend gig is an official famous band that plays official famous music that they wrote. That's one or two of the original people.
Right,
Obviously,
right.
he's probably about 10 years older than me, but he definitely was not original. Anyway, all that being said, keep reaching and you find that passion and you put all this together. You put all this together of let go of what you think your life should look like, or let go of what you think the next step should be like. Stop resisting what life's trying to teach you, and you keep reaching and take those opportunities. Well, Jen Koss didn't set the goal to be where she is today, but she's in a very happy place, a very satisfying and rewarding place, making her income today.
Yeah, and I would say the same is true for Shane. I don't mean to speak for my husband, but I'm going to. He's a poli-sci major. He thought he would be a lawyer. That did not work out, and he really kind of had several different jobs, a whole line of them, and then he ended up in fintech. And he's doing customer service, which he has done pretty much for his entire life. It's now client services, and he's great at it. He can see things that when things go wrong, he can see it, and it's very creative. He very creatively problem solves issues, which is amazing to me. And it's what makes him a good manager. It's what makes him a good at what he does. And he had no idea. I mean, if you told him he'd be in fintech, I think he would have laughed at you. First off, fintech did not exist. But
technology, everybody.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
a human translator. I got you.
It's a good thing. I do want to say one thing about those of us who have day jobs. If you don't own the company, remember somebody else does, and they care about themselves and the company first, and you second, no matter how good the company is.
100%. And you should be the same way. Let me tell you, that's a whole other show for Tyra and I do. Another episode for us to do. But I have made the mistake of giving away my mental health, giving away my energy, giving away my time, giving away my sanity, giving away my relationship because I'm taking myself out of the house for people that were not giving back.
Oh, yeah.
And I do it too much.
I'm a professor. That's like if you care about what you do, like I'm really connected to my students and to that part of my job. Yeah, I've learned to say no. The best thing that you can learn to do is say no.
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
I phrase it as FU. I'm in my FU era again because for me, that's how I have to do it. That's my boundary to remind myself. Polite way to say it is, why should I care? Well, so
I might care.
So blah, 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 blah.
But is that part of my job description?
Yeah. Case in point, we're talking medical stuff today and business medical, and we talked about addressing a nursing home and possibly fining them because they're not communicating. We're spending money and time and energy to send people over there to pick up our patient to go to this appointment. Oh, the patient's not here. They're in the hospital. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. And as that came out of my mouth of we're talking about this system, another person piped in, well, I'm going to tell you, they're just going to stop calling you. I had other things going on, and I got a little aggressive, and I got up and walked away and got my crap back together. But I went, I don't give a bleep that they don't give me. They are wasting my time and money. Why are you selling us out? Because their feelings, because they may or may not do something. Let me tell you, number one, they didn't give me that patient. We earned that patient. If they want to take it away, why do I care? They're burning me down. And I bring all that in to say for our lives. First off, something I've had to do for we definitely do a relationship show episode about chasing excellence, because I found it's especially worse when we're younger, but I get mad at my wife about something, and then I've had to go, why do I care? Whatever she's talking about literally affects me none. I can sit here. Have you seen Shrinking on Apple TV?
I have not. Is that the one?
Do you have Apple TV?
Of course I.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're a Star Wars.
No, I'm an Apple girl. I mean, Star Wars.
All right, Star Wars on the Disney Channel. My bad. Disney Plus. No, so Shrinking's with Harrison Ford and
that's right.
Oh, I know his name. So I'm trying to say his name.
Jason Segel.
Jason Sudeikis. No, not Sudeikis.
Segel. I'm looking at the.
Segel, is that his last name?
It's Jason Segel, Jessica Williams, Christina Miller, Harrison Ford, Lakita McFall.
I don't know why I thought his name was different.
I don't know. I'm just here to read a screen.
All right. So my point with it is, what was my point with it? Crap.
Your wife likes it?
No, we both like it. We both were into it. But it was something that they talked about on the show that helped with some psychological thing of that's it. It's I think it's from the first episode. It was a famous scene of this character is doing this thing in the yard, and this other person's challenging him, and this other person comes to his fence, and the husband rolls up. This is where I was getting to. Why am I getting mad that my wife's mad about something or her? It doesn't really affect. We tend to take on other people's emotions as humans. We tend to let other things trigger us. It really, if you ask us, what does this really have to do with me? That's what I mean by the F year. It's like, okay, I'm here to put food on my table. Number one. Number two, in order to put food on my table, I've got to make sure this company runs right. So that means I have to look out for the best interests of me and mine, ultimately. And the scene, which I won't ruin, and I don't want to even say on the show, we're being nice and connected, and we don't want to say cursey wordsy on this. But the husband rolls up and was like, oh, hi, so-and-so. She goes, oh no, we're mad at so-and-so today. He goes, oh, bleepity, bleepity, bleep, bye. And he just took his wife's side just like that. I was like, I told my wife, I looked at her and went, okay, I'm gonna tell you, I'm aspiring to be that guy. I aspired to roll up, because it had nothing to do with the husband. He's like, oh, whatever my wife says, bye. I was like, but we find ourselves getting mad at work but it doesn't affect us. Right. We find ourselves, what I'm saying is those roles, the mistakes of giving yourself away in a place that nobody asked and was unnecessary.
Yep.
Do you relate to that, Tyra?
Oh yes. You have to boundaries. We got to go back to boundaries. I mean,
go back to boundaries.
Let's go back to boundaries. And realize what.
Come on, LL Cool J. We got some boundaries.
I love LL Cool J.
Oh yeah, the first album was the best album.
I like him as an actor. I mean, I love his rap, and I love him performing. But I'll take NCIS Los Angeles any day. But anyway, moving on from my LL crush.
I bet you eat a Cracker Barrel.
What?
Nothing. Carry on, madam.
Cracker Barrel.
Well, we'll talk off.
I'm not talking to Charles anymore. Anyway, boundaries are important, because if you think about, like, if something's upsetting my husband, if I have the emotional boundary, then I'm able to help him better than if I get caught up in it as well. Or my favorite thing, think I've caused it, which is my favorite thing to do. I'm like, oh yeah,
right,
yeah.
Somehow this is my fault.
Somehow this is my fault.
Wrong. Right.
And it's not. But if, like, when he's in pain, he might be a little grumpy. Me too. And if I think he's grumpy because of something I did instead of him being in pain, I can't help him. So boundaries not only help save you, they can help improve your relationships so that you are able to see things a little more clearly.
Sometimes I'm not entirely certain how my wife and I survived the early years of being married.
I don't know how you did, because you two were young. How old were you when you got married?
I don't know. I'm gonna live forever. It's all young to me.
He
No,
was
I was
young.
23. She was 18.
She's 5 years younger than you?
Mhm.
Things Tyra did not know for $200, Alex.
It's not Alex anymore. He's
I know, but
dead.
I like Alex better than the other ones, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
keep saying
fair enough.
Alex.
Um,
Um, we are opposite. My husband is 9 years younger than me.
gotcha.
Meow.
That's not the sound a cougar makes, by the way. It's not meow.
That's
All
how
right.
this cougar makes it.
Okay. It's my back. I'm sorry. No,
No, that's true. Other thing they don't tell you about life when you get older.
uh, but what you just said about if I'm feeling like I'm hurt because they're hurt or I'm the cause of it or that kind of thing. And man, it just took me back to some more early fights where she's coming home and of course we're young, we're blah when we vent things.
Right.
And I've been at home all day playing video games, taking care of the little duplex, whatever. Right. My day off, she's
Right.
at work. She comes home and she's telling me about the crappy day she's had at work and it's affected her and she's hurt. And I am interrupting her stories. This I was when I raged out. Never would take these steps, but I said a lot. I'm gonna go burn the place down. I'm gonna go
Right.
up there and rip them a new one. Just all, and it
'Cause you
just made
wanted
a
to
fight
fix it.
between exactly because I wanted to fix it. I wanted to protect her. I wanted, but what she needed somebody to shut the hell up and sit the hell down and like, baby, I'm sorry, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know,
just
I need to be the guy. He played. I want to say his name was Ted on Married with Children. He was the next door neighbor.
Oh, yeah.
One of the two actors that played the same character from Next Door Neighbor. So I always think of him as Ted, I think is the name. But I want to be Ted. We're like, oh, we want to say bad things about them today. Gotcha, babe. Eat a bag of bleeps. You know.
I'm
Um,
here.
so that's resonant. And the same with me. I'll be even to this current career. I will be trying to vent a negative and process through it, and it triggers something in her, and she'll start fighting me. And we had to talk about that recently, like in the last month. Like, I don't want to share my work stories because you don't want to listen to them. You interrupt me, and all you want to do is get personal about two different people over there instead of letting me just tell you the story and process things. But also,
100%.
Tyra, in a relationship scenario like we're talking about, you got to step back and ask yourself, why are they reacting the way they're reacting? If they're getting angry because you're sharing the story and interrupting you, now it's a fight between you two. Or take it to yourself of, I'm sure the question comes up, well, Tyra, how do I realize that I'm blocking my help to give them by taking the responsibility of the problem on?
That is true.
And you just have to, I had to think about that so hard and go the why. What's appropriate? What can I give them? What can I say? And I was, especially in the early days, we were both just sharing. All we did was share the negatives of work, the negatives of me being on the ambulance, the negatives of her working in the hospital.
Right.
And then, so it's just this negative. There was no real good stories, but we're living the good stories. We're in there having some good days. I was having some good calls on the ambulance. I had some great moments. I wasn't sharing those nearly as much as the crap that this person said or this person did to me.
Right.
You've got to change that paradigm as well in your life as you're chasing those, because you'll never get
No.
your goal if all you're ever doing is crapping on everything in this world.
No, it's true. I make a point on days when I know Shane's had a rough day. I'll say, well, what's the good thing that happened today? What's the positive that came out of today? And I've tried some gratitude journals. I've tried a bunch of things. I'm still looking for the one that I like. I'm probably going to have to create it myself, is probably what I'm going to end up having to do. One of them said, what could I have done to make today better? And I'm like, I don't want to think about that at the end of the day. That's crap.
I get it, but
No.
also
I
at the
get it,
same
but I'm like,
time,
no.
no, I get you. But that's really what it came down to for me to kind of bring us home here, because we'll go forever, right?
We will.
And we will be bringing this back, for the nights that we don't have guests or any other specific things going on. We'll be talking about these journeys of chasing excellence, how you build your life. Bring your questions, show up here in the chat. We'll talk about the link tree and the email and all that jazz that you can do. But you do, at the end of the day, have to be introspective, because no matter what, the only person you can change in this world is you. And I totally get what could you have done today to make today better. But when we really get to that point of asking that constantly, that's hard. That got me to sit down and play video games this weekend, only for like an hour. But I find myself to be a workaholic. Like I'm working on work, or I'm working on this, or I'm working on the real this of the Dragon Con planning, or I'm always like, I gotta do more. And I've finally got this voice in my head that I've had to train up to go, can you put it down?
Yeah.
You haven't just chilled out in a while, dude. You need to take a cigar to the backyard.
Take a moment.
I had some great moments with my daughter the other day where we did our own little TikToks together, and it was fun. And I'll find it. I'll send it to you, Tyra. You'll like it.
Please.
And so, there's a lot. There's gonna be a lot to unpack. Unpack. You're impacted. We're gonna unpack it. So
there's also empath.
Yeah. Oh, that's the word, man. I definitely find. Okay, we'll talk about a different show. But make some mental notes or cause. Maybe you can be our show producer and you can write down, hey, they want to come out and talk about this. They want to come out and talk about this. We'll give cause producer credits. But
organize Tyra and Charles.
I have different reasons for hating the word empath. And most people go, I'm an empath. I'm like, smacked. Anyway, there's stories. Isn't that right?
I am.
But also, I think one of the reasons because I find that I do take on the emotions of others. Like if you get mad, Tyra, I'll find myself get right there with you. Never mad.
Let's go.
You're the kind of person that vents by being complaining and negative. I have a hard time going, just listening. So, there's all these things about giving yourself away. Whew. Good session.
It was a good session. We need to have Phil on here too. You guys seem to have good conversations and I'm not involved.
Yeah. You know what? In this scenario, we absolutely should. Because there's definitely some times I don't want Phil in public, and he knows it. What word would you use to describe this episode?
Excellent.
Because we're chasing excellence.
That's awesome.
All right, Tyra, where can they find you?
Well, before we do that, do we have any updates for the track?
It looks like, honestly, that I haven't had any pushback on the second edition of the proposed schedule that I put out. So I'm going to go make some updates to the actual Dragon Con database to match. I got to do one. I got to do one or two little tweaks.
I need to talk to you.
Okay. But when I say it that way to say, I think last year we got up to 10 versions. The year before we got up to like 15 versions. So
you're getting
opening
better.
it early, dropping it early. It seems like we're getting more refined. So the first edition had a number of corrections. Second edition, one or two. You said you're going to talk to me. All right. What?
No, I was. It just sent me a notification that we were live. I'm like, that was an hour ago. You stupid app. Sorry.
But so everything is good. We are approaching July. It'll probably be mid-July, late July, early August before we can really talk openly about the programming and the full guest. Although I can say I'm very, very happy that I've made a new friend on TikTok. It's our first professional TikToker that we've been able to get for digital media, and his name is Daniel Gossard. He goes by Stoner Gump, and it's going to be a blast.
It will be hilarious.
He's so much fun. And Tyra,
yes,
he's coming to the after party. He is making a point to bring his family and come be here for the follow-up. So
Dobby will stay at camp, but we have to kind of see how our life is.
Sure, I gotcha. And I did learn this week that there are two types of tracks. I don't know. I didn't know this.
Yeah, no, we didn't know this.
Fan tracks, which I thought everything was was called a track, right? But there's actually 6 reality tracks.
Woo! What's a reality track?
What
is this where we have like The Bachelor?
That would still be a fan track, believe it or not.
This is confusing.
I know, but we have the science track, the space track,
EFF.
Digital media track is a reality track. We're one of 6. Yeah,
we're reality people.
So I love it. It's because we cover real things with real people. I'm like, I never thought of it that way. Perspective
I know.
is
Point of
everything,
view. Point of view.
right?
Change your point of view. Change your life.
Free your mind, the rest will follow.
Absolutely.
All right, where can they find you?
They can find me at tyraburton.com. Everything is there. My podcast right now is Geek Meets Social, and the geeky side is on hiatus, probably indefinitely at this point. This is another thing that talks about boundaries. I made the realization that the longer I tried to put out 2 podcasts and I was not going to get either of them put out, the longer I would not be producing content. So I finally said, nope, I'm going to run with Geek Meets Social. I'm going to use that. I'm going to change the format a little bit. I just had Andrew Greenberg on this past week. He is formerly with White Wolf. He started the Mage, if you know. And no, he didn't do Mage. He did Vampire the Masquerade.
Okay.
And he does Fading Suns. And he's got a game coming out on Steam that we were talking about. My friend Anthony Williams from the Watchers in the Fourth Dimension. It's a Doctor Who podcast. Is going to be on this Friday, and Charles is going to be recording with me soon. And so I'm excited to be back behind the mic doing my own show. I'm not excited about editing it.
Well, that's fair, but it is about time
Thank
to get back behind the microphone.
I've been behind a mic, just everybody else's mic. Again,
You know?
I would just like to say that I love this track. I do this live stream. I do a podcast for my college, but I wasn't doing my stuff. And my stuff is what's going to support me after all that.
You know, that is the hardest thing sometimes to do, is to find, and that's been my words for 2 years have been balance and flow. And it really has helped refine the work that I do. Life, I still, it's always a process. Finding a balance and a flow to your life is a process. Plays right into my promotion. Linktree is our GOP 42. And I've been asked so many times about Finding the Story season 2. I have one of my favoriteest interviews of all time.
No, it can't be your favoriteest, because I should have been that.
Wait till you hear it. You are there. You are queen of season 1 by far. When you hear Mary Robinette Cole.
Oh,
and the reason why, one of the reasons why it's my favorite is because it was a cold pitch to a con. I got with their guest of honor for the author, and she and I just clicked and became friends. Awesome. And it was great. And it is the first time I'd done it live with a stranger. Like most of season 1,
right?
I knew everybody to some degree or another. Right. This was somebody I never knew how to do. And I've done that, right? I've done that with celebrities.
Yeah, no,
and
I mean, we talk to people.
But this is this is my baby, and this is a connection. So anyway, the audience really got into it, and the audience, for the first time ever, topped me with a question. I was like, I wish I'd thought of that question. It was great. It's such a good moment. And it's sitting in dry dock because I have not gotten my crap together.
When are you going to get your crap together?
Saturday. I'm going to start working on that. Saturdays are my editing days. Like I'm busy Monday through Friday, but Saturday mornings I get up, I make my French press coffee. I sleep in whenever I get up, which is between 10 and 11 nowadays. And I come out here with my French press, and I do Wise and Nerdy, which you can find on this link, and get that published because we record it tomorrow night. Great. And then I work on my Sunday gig Metron, which is TED Talks meets religion. Religion is not even the right word, because I think I honestly hate religion.
Maybe spirituality.
Faith. Yeah, spirituality, faith. Metron means motivation, enlightenment, networking, transcendence. I got it. Metro. I lost it. Networking is the last one. The N is networking. But it's community. It's all this stuff. It's he really put together this word based on these words that he was believing. Like you're talking about your words, your mission statement.
Right.
So there's a lot of scripture, a lot of Jesus, but there's Deepak Chopra. There is all kind of motivational speaking. There's science in there. He's quoted Neil deGrasse Tyson a number of times in these talks, and I enjoy it. I enjoy working with it. But I publish that also on Saturdays, and then I have and my wife's out driving or doing something with the kids that was planned without me. So I have a number of hours on Saturday.
That's nice.
That I can sit and enjoy and go. I can finish up some of my DragonCon programming because I got the programming, and now I've got to put names with it and start getting guests and all that. but I also can take 2 hours to edit Finding the Stories and get one episode put together and in the proverbial can, if you will, to the end. Because I released the season on a timetable, but I have the whole season has to be done before what they say. So, Tyra,
Yes.
and Kaz and the world, you're free to hold me accountable to go, hey, did you edit that show on Saturday?
Yeah.
Because I really
I'll be
it's a
on that.
perfect time. And I found myself even this week in the midst of some heaviness going on in the world around me, my world, not the world, but my world around me, going back, just somewhere in my brain, going back to that interview with her, going, the world needs to hear that. I need to get that out because I'm so proud of it. It was a great moment. And I want her to be able to have it and use it because it was a great moment for her. She got to do things in that interview that she normally doesn't get to talk about or show off or connect with. And
very cool.
So yeah, Saturday is
time.
I'll
text you Saturday is what I'll do.
Awesome. Now what's coming up?
I was right to say,
yes,
I need some blurs. My blurs from in the digital track, you people of color who I love tremendously. Channing, I might be speaking to you, Fluffy Bottoms. I have been trying to get a blurred takeover for Juneteenth, which will be next Wednesday. I would love to have them take over our channel, but I don't know if that's going to come together or not. I've got my fingers crossed. If not, I don't know what will be here, but something will be. On June 26th, Rob Roberts will be flying in for taking out Pride Month with our LGBTQIA+ episode that has become an annual thing. It's the second time we've done it, and Rob has moderated it both times, so I really super appreciate him. I will not be here on July 3rd. Talk to Charles. I will be celebrating I'll be celebrating my 14th anniversary.
Those are rookie numbers.
Whatever. I know you've been married forever. But I do want to let you guys know that July 10th, MC Williams will be here talking about podcasting solo. We had to move him from actually tonight. So he'll be coming in on July 10th. Unless June 19th doesn't work out. But anyway, that's where we are. You want to tell them where to find us?
So that link tree is linktr.ee/DC Digital Media Track. You can get our Discord, which is where you'll get all the announcements about the panels, how you can become a panelist.
You can find out what the panels are now.
Yes, actually, it's true. It's true. And fans, we allow fans in there. There's definitely people in there who just love to be around the process. You don't have to be a creator. You don't have to want to be a panelist. Right. You could just be a part of the community that you love digital media and the digital media track. And yeah, that I think that brings up a great point. So everything's there, our YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, everything's on the link tree. I love link tree more than my website. I've got to get my website together too. And Tyra, I know we're making time to work on that, but we'll get there.
You need to come up and spend some time. My husband can smoke something, meaning ribs, people.
Thanks for HR violations. We'll see it. No, but
we have a Traeger. I know. I just paid the damn thing off today. Interest-free financing for 2 years. That Traeger is ours.
Oh no, I was triggered when you said smoke something. All right. So, but you mentioned the Juneteenth.
Yes.
That brings up the balance of what I do with the digital media track, what we do, Tyra, with the digital media track. I realized today the best introduction, the most honest introduction I could give of you to anybody is you're my partner and co-creator. To be honest, I mean, even up through the track, it's because I was thinking about how I introduce you to certain other people that I'm working with in Dragon Con. Of like, I thought about this one was like, well, she's as close to a second as you can get without actually being a volunteer and being in the system. And there was, well, that's just a co-creator and part. So
I'll take that.
We can only make opportunities,
right?
And
no, it's true.
I know this is definitely, I'm with it. This is definitely the month that lots of people truly get into pride, get into heritage, Juneteenth. There's many months where heritage comes up, and that's great. And then I know on the flip side, there's many times when corporations just try to jump on a bandwagon. We are that balance in between of we're going to make an opportunity because we want everybody to be represented in the way they can bring, but we need you.
Yeah, we need
to bring that representation.
Yeah, I'm a pasty white girl. I need you.
I identify as all kind of things, but not everybody is going to see that at first with me. So we need you. We need, and I don't.
Me
I
too.
mean, honestly, I love being in front of the camera. I love this, but there's just some nights I'm like, oh, thank God, we've got the next 3 weeks booked because I've been tired and I need to take a break.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
I miss my husband, but he's
I don't.
breaking things, so it's awesome.
All right, Tyra, I appreciate everything.
I do
We
too,
are
Kaz. We love you for sticking with us. We love you.
producer Kaz
That's right.
for riding along and being a part of this ball game. And in all seriousness,
She
grab a
keeps
notebook,
Charleston.
start jotting things out because she does. She organizes the back end of the trip. That sounded bad. We'll figure out better phrasing next time, Kaz. We do appreciate you, though. You're the best. Let's be awesome together out there, everybody.
With better phrasing. She missed the producer part. While you weren't looking, we assigned you jobs.
All right. So, hey, Kaz. So, real quick, we were talking about since you come out and listen, you could grab your notepad, whatever. And as we throw out different things of going, oh, we should come back and talk about this. We can talk about that. You just write it down like you do, like in our meetings and stuff. You always catch the stuff that gets thrown out of my mouth. And then we're going to call you producer Kaz. And now you get producer credits. So
put it on your LinkedIn. I do.
You want executive producer? You got to give me some money. Bye, Kaz.
Love you.